What if the way the world treats you is just a reflection of how you show up to it? Chapter 1. The first face you see every morning. Have you ever noticed? The way the world treats you often depends on how you step out your front door each morning. Same rainy day, same glance from a stranger, same offhand comment. Yet sometimes it cuts deep, and other times it just rolls off. Maybe it's not the world that's changed. Maybe it's the way you're looking at it. Let me ask you something. Who's the first person you meet every day? It's not your coworkers, not your partner, not even your kids. It's you in the mirror. Just a few seconds, but those seconds can quietly shape your entire day. Most of us glance at our reflection to fix our hair, check our outfit, maybe inspect a wrinkle or two. But how often do we really look ourselves in the eye and ask, how am I actually feeling today? Not the surface stuff, the real stuff. And here's the thing about mirrors. They never go first. They won't smile unless you do. They won't scowl unless you bring tension into the room. A mirror doesn't create emotion. It reflects what you bring to it. And life works exactly the same way. The world isn't some external force plotting to ruin your day. It reflects back the energy, the mindset, the emotional tone that you project. Smile at a stranger on the sidewalk genuinely, and the world softens a little. But step out of your house irritated, frustrated, rushed, and it'll feel like everything is against you. Traffic, people, words, all heavier than they need to be. Some call it the law of attraction. Others say it's vibrational energy. Strip away the trendy labels, and you're left with something beautifully simple. Life is a mirror. If you smile, it smiles back. One morning I woke up late. My hair was a mess. I was out of coffee. My phone buzzed with a dozen unread emails. I looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize the tired, grumpy version of myself. I sighed. And that one sigh triggered a domino effect. I snapped at the Uber driver. Barely mumbled a thanks at the cafe. Showed up to work in full-on, let's just survive this day mode. But then, something unexpected happened. I ran into an old friend. He looked at me, didn't judge, didn't ask. Rough day. He just smiled and said, "Man, you look different today. But you're still you, right?" That simple comment pulled me out of the emotional spiral I'd thrown myself into. It made me realize I had let one rough morning set the tone for everything that followed. That night I made a decision. The next morning, no matter how tired I was, no matter how bad I slept, I'd look in the mirror and smile. Not because I felt amazing, not because anything magical had happened, but because I chose to. Just 3 seconds of looking myself in the eye and saying, "You've got this. Let's go again." Changed everything. Not because the world suddenly got easier, but because I no longer met it from a place of frustration. I spoke more gently to the barista. I had more patience in traffic. It wasn't the world that got lighter. It was me. You see, most of us already know this on some level. We've all heard things like be positive, or start your day with gratitude. But knowing it and living it? Two different worlds. Smiling when things go well? Easy. Smiling when you're exhausted, when you feel invisible, when you've got no clear reason to smile. That's power. Not because you're faking it, but because you've chosen not to let the world dictate your emotional weather. You become the one holding the mirror, not just reacting to what it reflects. You don't need to be cheerful all the time. You don't have to pretend life is perfect, but you can take control of your starting point. And sometimes that starting point is a small, quiet smile. For the first person you meet every morning, yourself. Doesn't need to be flawless. It doesn't have to last. Just has to be real. That smile says, "Today, I'm choosing to begin differently." And over time, you'll start to notice something remarkable. The world around you, it begins to respond in kind. Chapter 2. You get what you give off. Ever stepped out of your house in a bad mood, and suddenly it feels like the whole world is against you? The traffic is worse than usual. Someone cuts you off. The barista forgets your order. And a stranger brushes past you without even an apology. And in your head you think, of course, it's just one of those days. But here's what's interesting. There are other days where the exact same things happen. You're still late. Traffic's still bad. Someone's still rude. But for some reason you don't spiral. You laugh it off. You shrug. You throw on your favorite playlist and tell yourself, "It's not the end of the world. I've got this." Same events. Same people. Same world. But two completely different experiences. Why? Because the energy you bring into the day shapes the way the day meets you. The world doesn't operate off its own emotions, it mirrors yours. We walk through life surrounded by millions of people, but what truly drives how they respond to us isn't luck, or fate, or even timing. It's energy. It's the emotional tone you carry in your body, in your face, in your voice. Smile with warmth and the world often smiles back. Walk in with a scowl and people pull away or match your energy with more tension. Not because they're mean, but because we all pick up on each other's signals, even when we don't realize it. Imagine for a moment that every morning, you step outside carrying an invisible mirror. And everything you encounter, people, interactions, opportunities, is bouncing off that mirror. If it's foggy with anger, stress, or cynicism, guess what gets reflected back? But if it's clear, if it reflects hope, patience, openness, then you'll start to notice more of those things coming back to you. This isn't toxic positivity. I'm not asking you to fake being cheerful. I'm saying, every emotion you choose to hold on to has weight, and it echoes. And we've all felt that weight. Remember the last time you walked into a room and instantly felt tension, even before anyone said a word? Or that moment when someone greeted you with unexpected kindness, and your entire day shifted? That's energy. And it's real. And here's the kicker. You're the one sending it out every single day. Through every word, glance, and gesture. I used to work with a guy named Dan. He wasn't the most qualified on paper. Didn't go to an Ivy League school. Wasn't flashy or loud. But every single morning, Dan walked into the office with a big good morning. And a genuine smile. Rain or shine. Deadline or not. Exhausted or well-rested. He didn't force it. He just made it a habit to be the energy he wanted to see in the room. People loved working with Dan. Not because he was the smartest, but because being around him made things feel lighter. Even the tense meetings felt less hostile. Even bad news was easier to process when Dan was in the room. And guess what? He rose in the company. Quietly. Naturally. Not through politics. But through presence. That taught me a powerful lesson. No one teaches us this in school. But if you get it, really get it, it will completely change the way you move through the world. Instead of asking, why is everyone treating me like this? Try asking, what am I putting out that's creating this reaction? Instead of waiting for others to be kind first, be the one who starts. Be the smile in the elevator. Be calm in the storm. Be the one who doesn't let someone else's bad mood ruin your good one. There's a quote I come back to often. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Read that again. Because it changes everything. You can't ask for a loving relationship if you're carrying around bitterness. You can't expect a peaceful life if your mind is filled with chaos and blame. You can't walk into the world expecting grace and patience if you yourself are walking around ready to snap. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you fake happiness. Emotions are real. Frustration is real. But what you choose to nurture, what you allow to grow inside you, that's the energy people feel. So tomorrow morning ask yourself, what do I want the world to reflect back to me today? Then give that away first. Give away patience. Give away curiosity. Give away that extra 3 seconds of grace you wish someone had given you yesterday. And slowly you'll notice, the world isn't always magical, but it quietly, consistently begins to echo the exact frequency you've been broadcasting all along. Chapter 3. When a smile becomes strength. We've been taught to believe that smiles are for happy moments. You get a raised smile. Someone compliments you, smiles. The sun's out, the coffee's perfect, and everything's going your way, smile. But real life doesn't always play out that way. And here's a truth no one tells you loud enough. A smile isn't a reward. It's a choice. And when life feels heavy, choosing to smile is one of the bravest things you can do. We admire people who seem effortlessly positive. You know the type, always upbeat, always finding the silver lining. But don't be fooled into thinking their lives are easier than yours. They've just learned something powerful. Don't wait for life to be kind before you choose to be kind to yourself. Smiling when you're full of joy? That's easy. Smiling when you're tired, misunderstood, or quietly hurting inside. That's courage. Not fake. Not forced. But a quiet declaration. I will not let the world steal my peace. That's not a weakness. That's power. And let's be honest, these days it's incredibly easy to be on edge. Social media is loud. News is heavy. People are rushed. And you never really know what anyone's carrying with them. So naturally we get reactive. Someone says something off and we fire back. Someone gives us an attitude and we match it. It's human. But is it helping? Ask yourself, do I really feel stronger when I snap? Or just more drained? Because the truth is, anger is easy. Silence takes strength. Revenge is quick. Grace is lasting. Being defensive is instinct. But staying open? That takes growth. I'll never forget a moment I witnessed in a little coffee shop downtown. It was pouring rain. Everyone looked tired, rushed, a little soggy. But in the corner, there was an older man, gray hair, weathered hands, sitting alone. He was smiling. Not a big, cheesy grin. Just a soft, content look as he sipped his coffee. Calm. Unbothered. The barista brought over his drink, and he nodded gently, like it was the first kind gesture he'd seen all day. That image stuck with me. He wasn't rich. He wasn't flashy. He was just peaceful. And it hit me, that man might be one of the strongest people I've ever seen. Because when the world gives you every excuse to be bitter, and you choose to be kind anyway, that's real strength. See, we're raised to think being strong means being tough, stoic, unshaken. But maybe true strength is keeping a soft heart in a hard world. Maybe it's holding on to your calm when chaos knocks. A smile in that context isn't decoration, it's armor. It's not for show. It's a signal to the world. I decide how I show up. Think about it like walking through the rain. You don't control the weather, but you can choose how you walk in it. Head held high, shoulders back, maybe even humming your favorite tune. And if someone sees you and thinks, that person's got something different, they're right. You've got your power back. So the next time you wake up and feel like there's no reason to smile, smile anyway. Not to lie to yourself, but to remind yourself, you're still here. You're still choosing. You're still in control of your inner world. You might be working a job you don't love. You might be surrounded by people who don't see you. But your smile? That might be the only warmth someone else feels all day. And honestly, sometimes that's enough. You might not see it changing things right away. But over time, those small choices, smiling when it's hardest, staying soft when the world is sharp, they shape who you are. They shift how people respond to you. They create a life that feels lighter, because you chose to be the light. And listen, I get it. This isn't always easy. No one expects you to be perfect or positive 100% of the time. But just once, try choosing gentleness over sarcasm. Try responding with grace instead of matching someone's coldness. Try smiling not because the world deserves it, but because you do. Because bitterness is contagious. But so is warmth. And where there's a smile, there's hope. And where there's hope, there's always a way forward. So the next time life tempts you to shut down, to lash out, or to give up, pause, breathe, look in the mirror, and smile, not for them, for you. You don't need anyone's permission to be soft. You don't need perfect conditions to feel powerful. You just need a moment of stillness and the quiet courage to choose your response. Because if you're going to walk through storms anyway, why not walk through them with your head high and your heart open? Chapter 4. Are you the light, or just the reflection? At some point in life, every one of us faces the same question. Am I actually steering this life, or am I just reacting to it? It's easy to move through the day on autopilot. Someone is rude? You shut down. Someone raises their voice? You raise yours. Is the world chaotic? So you tighten up and brace yourself. Before you know it, you're not choosing how to live. You're just mirroring everything that comes at you. And here's the hard truth. If you're always reacting, then you're not really free. You've become a reflection of other people's moods, their energy, their fear, their tension. You let them decide how your day feels. You give away your power without even realizing it. But what if you could flip that? What if, starting today, you stopped being the reflection and started becoming the light? Think about it. You've probably met someone who changed the mood of an entire room just by walking into it. Not because they were loud, not because they were powerful, but because they carried something rare. A calm presence, a grounded energy, warmth that didn't depend on the weather. They didn't mirror the room. They set the tone for it. And guess what? You can be that person. You don't need to be famous. You don't need 1 million followers or a perfect life. You just need one thing: intention. You decide right here, right now, that the energy you bring into a room matters. That your presence, your words, your facial expressions, your silence have weight. Because they do. Imagine how different life feels when you stop chasing validation and start offering value. When you stop thinking, how will people treat me today? And start asking, how do I want to show up for the world today? That small shift changes everything. You don't wait for kindness, you offer it. You don't wait for peace, you create it. You don't wait for someone else to be the light. You become it. And you know what's wild? Most people won't even understand what changed. They'll just feel better when they're around you. They'll say things like, "You're easy to be around," or, "I don't know what it is, but you calm me down." That's what happens when you stop reacting and start radiating. But let's be real, it's not always easy. There will still be people who test your patience. Still moments when someone cuts you off, speaks over you, misunderstands your heart. Still days when the world feels cold, fast, and uninterested. And that's when the question comes up again. Are you going to mirror the world? Or are you going to reflect your values, your peace, your truth? You can respond to cruelty with cruelty, but you'll feel heavy. You can meet judgment with sarcasm, but it won't heal anything. Or, you can be the person who interrupts the cycle. You can be the pause, the deep breath, the unexpected kindness. You can be the one who leaves people better than you found them. Not because they deserve it, but because that's who you've decided to be. And that's freedom. Because when you stop letting people control your reactions, you start becoming the author of your own story. You're no longer a character in someone else's chaos. You're the one choosing the plot. And no, you don't have to be nice all the time. You don't have to stay quiet when something's wrong. This isn't about people pleasing. This is about conscious living. It's about power with softness, strength with grace, boundaries with compassion. It's about becoming so rooted in who you are that nothing and no one can knock you off center for long. You are not a reflection of what's around you. You are a reflection of what's within you. So tomorrow, when the world tries to push your buttons, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, do I want to mirror this energy? Or do I want to lead with mine? Because you can't control the storm, but you can be the shelter. You can be warm. You can be the light. And in a world full of mirrors, be the one who glows.